So it's another year summer league. And the thing I've noticed this year, because of course there's some second year players in it who they've been, of course they're doing what second year players should do. They've been dominating.
Yeah,
But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about all the summer league legends of summer leagues past, starting with Anthony Randolph,
Summer League MVP.
Yeah, for like 4 straight summers he had us. We were high on Anthony Randolph just off of his summer league appearances every year. He had a couple 40-point games here and there. He was looking like a real, at the time, would have been the prototypical stretch four. He could shoot the ball. He could post up a bit. He could handle it. He was a lefty. And coming out of LSU, it was like, because I think he was right before Glenn Davis and Tyrese Thomas. He was right in that area, but I don't think he played on their teams. So Anthony Randolph is like one of those players who was a summer league legend who every summer we held on the hope for him in the NBA because he was hoop out every summer league.
Yeah, he was one. So the second, like you said, the second year players or the older players like Anthony Randolph, they usually shine because you've already had that year of grinding against real NBA players. So they usually do stand out. You can even see that this year, like Quickly is playing really well. Tyrese Maxey is playing well.
Obi playing well.
Obi was playing well. Okoro was just dunking on people like they're kids out there because you've been through the grind of a real NBA season. But Anthony Randolph, he was definitely one. I'm trying to think of somebody else that had like a great, because somebody always overrates the player in summer league and they don't really live up to it. But summer league is fun. It's cool. It's a grind. I like it. I like what I've been seeing this year from summer league.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Some of the players have been really having standout summer leagues. I like how we've gotten some of those early matchups. We got in the Cade versus Jalen already.
Yeah, they're gonna do that on purpose because now they're selling. They're selling the TV stuff too. Yeah. And those two have been my two of my favorites this summer league. It's looking like they're gonna shut down Jalen. He got a hamstring injury, so definitely go ahead and sit down, get ready for the season. There's nothing else for him to show anyway. But I like Cade's pace of play. That was something I liked about him in college, and it seems like that's just transitioning easy. I like how he's looked with Sharif, with Killian Hayes.
Definitely.
But I was gonna say Sharif. I've liked Sharif Cooper. Jalen Johnson looks like a player who the Hawks drafted. He looks like a player like with the right amount of minutes, he could steal Rookie of the Year. That's how good he's looked. That's my over the top summer league prediction. I don't think he's gonna win Rookie of the Year, but I'm just saying if he gets minutes, like because some people had him as a top 10 talent. He fell because struggle at Duke and then he leaving early a little bit, but a lot of people thought he was a top 10 player.
Right.
I think he's like 8th on Steven's board. Shout out to Steven Gillespie, Breaking the Game pod. I think he was 8th on his board. I'm not sure. He was in his top 10 for sure. So he looks good out there.
All right. And with that being said, I'm John W.
It's Fresh X.
And this is the Hoopers Morning Run. Just speaking of Jalen and Kay real quick, I just want to speak on the teams Detroit and Houston who seem to be in similar positions with their rosters and how they're made up. I know Reggie Jackson just went back to Detroit, so that's some veteran presence. But they're two.
Wait, Reggie Jackson went back to Detroit? Really? Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he signed earlier this week or the end of last week. But they're two teams that have a lot of good signing.
Don't like it.
Well, both of those teams have they've accumulated a lot of young talent in just a couple of years. Of course, last year Detroit Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey, Houston and drafting Cade this year in Houston, trade for Kevin Porter and signed with Kevin Porter in the middle of the year, drafting Jalen Green, Josh Christopher. Which one of those teams do you feel like is in a bit more area of success over the next couple of years, maybe the next 3 years? You'll see some improvement from them.
The Knicks got the steal. Who are you talking about? As for the steal, Big Man, because he is nice. Shout out to Edgar. He definitely is really good. But to answer your question, more immediately success, I would say Detroit. We have Jaren Grant already, and K seems like a player who he can impact winning sooner. Houston, while they have talent, they have a lot of wild card players, and I'm not even sure who's all still going to be there because they all kind of I like Kevin Porter, really like Jalen Green, especially from watching him play this first week. He's impressed me, and I've been high on Josh Christopher since high school. But with all of them, they do best. One of them may be the odd one out. and they're still trying to build. But in Houston, you got Christian Wood also,
Right.
which I would say is the best player out of each team. But I think Cade helps Detroit a little quicker than Jalen might help Houston. So, and then the East, while the East have gotten better, the East is just always still weaker than the
There's
West.
room for those young teams to kind of snake.
It's room from a young team to steal some spots in the East if depending on what other moves you make. But having Christian Wood helps in Detroit. I mean, in Houston. He came from Detroit though.
Yeah. The Knicks overall had a good draft though. Edgar Deuce McBride. I think the Knicks did have a solid draft. This is probably a draft you could be a Knicks fan. You could hold like y'all went in, y'all did y'all job, y'all probably got a little better.
Yeah, they definitely had a good draft for sure.
How much do you think? Because of course they got some guys that can help around the floor, play some defense now. They got and like say Deuce. I know after the game, a lot of people said they still seen him in his jersey afterwards out at lunch and stuff. They got players who also seem to want to be a Knick as well, which is important for any team. But with the Knicks culture seeming to be changing, with more players that want to be there, even the veteran players, where do you see the Knicks coming in next season coming up? What do you think they're gonna look like?
I think they're in the same area though. I like the things they brought in. I like them adding Kemba. I like Derrick Rose there, but those teams in the East are the last home court spot and definitely the fifth spot to the play-in. They're all like right there. And we even saw that last year. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see them taking an extra jump as far as getting up there with Brooklyn and the Bucks and the Brooklyn and the Bucks for sure. But they're right there. They're right there going to be competing for home court again. So for sure, I definitely see that. No, especially when you bring Mitchell Robinson back. Kemba is going to have a better year this year, I believe, because he came into last year. We already knew he was going to be hurt anyway. He didn't come back into January. Season starting in December. So they're definitely going to be they made improvements, and then it's just a matter of how, as long as Julius Randle keeps getting better because he's their best player, they'll be all right.
All right, just go back up to bars real quick. That Reggie Jackson, I don't know how I feel about that either. It wasn't a good matchup. The matchup didn't last long. Where it started off good, he did help him go to the playoff once or twice, but sometimes you shouldn't go back, and he went back. Like, you got to let that chapter of your career go. And I don't really see him, especially like you just got done playing the conference finals. Does he really help make Detroit that much better to be a playoff team, honestly? But over to Dennis Schroeder, who also just signed this week. He signed with the Boston Celtics, who were in need of a star point guard after trade for Kemba Walker. I don't even want to get on the contract situation because it is what it is. But where does Dennis Schroeder help Boston next year?
Well, definitely they lost Kemba. So Kemba was their starting point guard. And then we saw what happened when they lost Marcus Smart last year. I still think they're going to start Marcus Smart, and you bring Dennis Schroeder off the bench. Dennis Schroeder, is not a starting point guard. He tried it in Atlanta. He tried it with the Lakers. Now, to say what he is, I think a lot of people forget that the Lakers were having a good season when he was healthy last year. He got in the COVID protocols, and like pretty much everybody else, he didn't come back the same. And especially when he got into it, because I remember Jason Tatum got into it in December, and he struggled for a few weeks. But then the further he got away from it, the better he continued to be. Same thing with Steph Curry. He was balling, he got into it, and he was, no disrespect, he was terrible when he came back, which you would make sense. But he got better as it got further away from it. Dennis caught it at the end, more closer to the end of the season. LeBron and AD are already hurt, and now you come back as playoff times, and he doesn't look good. With that being said, I don't think he's a starting point guard. I never thought he was, but he's proven that he can average 19 points per game, and I don't think you just get that from anybody. So he provides scoring, ball handling for Boston. He could play in different lineups because you can't play him with Marcus Smart. I would bring him off the bench, though. I was just thinking about this randomly yesterday, but it's just weird how the two players that literally just were up for sixth man of the year, Schroeder and Trez, just how much they've been. It's been a struggle for them. They both thought they were about to get big paydays or whatever, and then they weren't put in the best positions for different reasons, because Trez went through some things when he struggled also too, with injuries and death to his grandma. But I think people their value got lost because they started playing different ways, especially when they came back from certain situations, and people forget where their value lied. Dennis Schroeder did they average 19 a game. Trez gave you 18 a game, so if you put them in a position to do the things they were doing, you just got to make sure the fit works for you. Right. And Boston needs a ball handling guard. They need a scoring guard, especially off of their bench. If you are going to go ahead and put Marcus Smart in the starting lineup, you also lost Evan Fournier to the Knicks. That's 19 points per game also. Yeah. So, you got to replace these numbers. What you expect. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both average 30 next year, and which they very well both could, but that's not going to get it done. So it's a good sign for Boston. I personally think that Dennis Schroeder agent could have got him more money, but I think maybe once the play didn't work out how he wanted to initially, he decided to take less to play for a team that competing. Because I know what people are going to say about Boston, but at the end of the day, I still just point to last season. They were hooping before they went through a lot of stuff. Right. That's why they were able to get 2 All-Stars, because they were looking like they were going to have a good year. And then, you're already out of Kimba's already out. Then Marcus Smart goes out. Jason Tatum gets COVID. At the end of the year, Jaylen Brown is hurt. And so, Boston wasn't, which they still needed things to fix too. Right. I appreciate them bringing Al Horford back because they need a big. I think Robert Williams is going to be better this year. But Boston isn't as terrible as people think. I don't think they're with Brooklyn. They're right in that tier.
I think they can get back to that home court area. Yeah, before that, like say that 4 to play-in game.
4 to 10 is all the same in my opinion. 4 to 10.
The play-in game.
Yeah, 4 to the play-in is all the same. Atlanta, Washington, New York, Boston, Miami. They're all right there. I think Brooklyn and the Bucks are top 2. Philly is right there. Depending on what happens with Philly, I would have them right there, but it seems like it's so much dysfunction with the Ben Simmons thing right now. That's the only thing that would keep me a little lower on them. The team-wise, they finished at the top of the East for a reason. So.
Yeah. Glad Edgar brought up Kawhi, and we think he's gonna play at all this year, miss the season. Of course, he just re-signed back with the Clippers. Yeah. It was 4 years, 138, I think. But I don't know. I was saying earlier, I don't know if he will play or not. Maybe sit the whole year out and get as healthy as possible. I've been seeing people saying maybe he come back January, February. I guess it depends on what the Clippers are. If they looking like they're going advance far, maybe he comes back. But they're looking like a first, second round exit. Maybe he sit out the whole year and, like I say, get as healthy as possible because we know he's never going to be 100%.
Well, it was a partial ACL, right? Yeah. So I don't see why he would sit out the whole year. It's a notion that Kawhi just don't want to play when that's not really it. I don't see any reason why the Clippers wouldn't be a top 6 seed, and then you add Kawhi to that.
I don't have a point guard right now.
You add Kawhi to that. I mean, they don't, but they can add. You can add Rondo. You can add. It's some people out there they can add, but just off of Paul George, Ibaka coming back, they'll be all right.
No, definitely.
They can get Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, I mean, Schroeder is kind of betting on himself because at the end of the day, his agent probably could have gotten him more money. So I don't think he had to take that $5 million. But if he come out and have a big year, he definitely gets a bigger contract next year, which is sometimes the best thing. I know Trez did that with the Lakers. Sometimes it is best to take that 1 year deal so you can get a bigger payday down the line. He's got to go out there and prove it at this point, and go out there and get it.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
But over to back to Summer League. You seen Jello get the game winner the other night?
No, I haven't really caught up with the Jello hype of Summer League. Charlotte doesn't have anything I want to see. Even though I do like is it Kai Jones? K Jones?
Jones.
He dunks everything that he sees, and I appreciate players like that.
There's been a lot of that in Summer League. There's been a couple of dudes that put some people on posters this year.
I know Jericho Sims?
Yeah,
he dunked on a few people, so for sure.
Definitely. But I think it's cool, because of course everybody, knows the Jello story and why he, why a lot of people think he got blackballed and didn't get a chance. I do think it's good that he is in the Summer League and he is actually hooping right now. He is playing really good in the Summer League. I don't know if that leads to him getting a full-time NBA contract or a two-way contract. Probably a two-way contract more likely, but he is playing and hooping right now in Summer League.
Yeah, I guess Charlotte has a G League team. Obviously, he's there. You got the ball name. It will work to have him there. He's always been a good shooter. I don't think LiAngelo's that good of a player, but he's a good enough shooter to play in the G League for sure.
Definitely. And another sign, did you see Kevin Durant resign?
Yeah, he got his extension. I wasn't sure how I didn't know he was up for extension. First of all, I knew his deal was coming close to being up, but you wonder how he was going to play that out as far as for his contract. And I'm sure his last year is an option, but it's looking like he might be a Brooklyn Net to finish his career, which is cool. I would wonder if he would want to even consider going somewhere else, but it's good to see he was locked in there.
All right. Of course, the GM said he's gonna try to get sign everybody to the extension before the summer is over with. Keep that big three together for a long time. And of course, we know what they have the potential to be. We're saying, of course, you get injuries late in the season in the playoffs, some things get derailed. But after signing, Pat Mills over the offseason, drafting Cam Thomas, who everybody thinks can provide some more scoring for him. And of course, we already said Brooklyn is in the elite part of the East. If everybody stays healthy this year, which is the best you can hope for, do you see them making a long playoff run?
Yeah, easily. They still need to add some size, but Pat Mills, first of all, was a good pickup. When they signed him, I immediately thought that was what they needed. But Cam Thomas, I didn't really know much about him, but just seeing his play in Summer League, he seems like something that they need because their guards let them down last year. Shamet, Bruce Brown, even I think it's Chris Chihuahua. He like all of those players were players that should have got minutes for them in the playoffs, and they had to resort to hurt James Harden just to dribble the ball up court. So that was kind of bad. So guards was definitely necessary. Obviously, they play a real versatile style, so they don't need the Joel Embiid type big, but you're going to have to play those type of players. So you still got to bring somebody in. DeAndre Jordan didn't play at all. I like Nick Claxton, but he's really small. I see him playing minutes, but he's not the full-time starter there. And we knew you was gonna lose that with Jared Allen because you weren't gonna be able to keep Jared Allen and keep all those guys together.
Right.
But they're gonna have to add some type of size somewhere out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think they had some other big man. Was it Perry that with them?
And
he wasn't that.
Was it Elijah Johnson?
Yeah, him too.
But also, all
they gotta add a big.
All the big men was on the thin side. Like they were all 7 feet, but they all were the same size as KD. Like,
yeah,
you just want somebody in there just for a little size. You could even see that in the Milwaukee series after, like, say, the injuries. If they had one big man with some size on it, it would have made a little bit of a difference, honestly.
Yeah, they were terrible. They need to add some size, but they as long as they're healthy, you got Kevin Durant. You're going to at least second round. So they're healthy. This is going to be conference finals or bust for them this year.
Definitely. Chicago is also definitely a team to watch.
I don't believe in Chicago, but we shall see. I think they should make a step. They're in that range too because they could have gotten to play in last year. Yeah. A lot of people really high on Lonzo, higher than I thought. I think I see the potential in Lonzo, but I don't know. We'll see.
Got a DeMar sign.
We'll see. Yeah, I like them adding DeMar. It'll be interesting to see how him and Levine play together. Zach probably had the best year of his career this year.
Yeah, that
usually happens off of an Olympic run because you're around the best players. Just look at players after they leave the Olympics; they had the best year of their career the next year.
Right,
typically, a lot of them.
I seen somebody say Kobe White. I don't know if it was Instagram. It probably was Instagram, but they were saying Kobe White with the right opportunity this year coming off the bench, he could be a sleeper for sixth man of the year.
Yeah, I said that when they signed Lonzo, because you bring in those guards, so now he gets to kind of focus on he could be that scoring guard off the bench. He'll play some minutes with the starters too. But yeah, I think he could be if they're good, he's in that conversation.
No, yeah, he'll definitely be in that conversation. Like, I think he's shown he can have some good big scoring nights. He's had a couple 30-point games, some 7 3-point made games. So coming off the bench where there won't be much scoring out there or playmaking, he could definitely fill that role. And maybe that's the role he take on for the rest of his career, which could be a great role and a long playing role, honestly.
I wonder what are people's expectations of Chicago this year? Think they home court advantage?
I think some
playoffs for sure.
I think some people are putting them in home court advantage area. I think some people just like I said, because they had a chance to make the play-in game last year, so I think some people got them in the playoffs.
Like this year's Phoenix.
I don't know if they that good. I don't know if they can be this year's Phoenix.
Phoenix went to the finals.
Yeah, that's a big leap, honestly. And I know Phoenix, of course, they missed the playoffs the year before they went to the finals. But I think adding Chris Paul was better than adding DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball, honestly.
We'll see. I don't know. I think I got them 6 to 10 range.
Who has the best bench for this upcoming year?
That's a good question. I haven't even really thought about that. Who has the best second unit, the deepest team in the NBA? It's probably the Hawks.
I was thinking the Hawks.
Probably the Hawks. Of that, because I mean, shout out to Zach Ramsey. He says that the Hawks has 2 of everything. You know, you got guards everywhere. You got bigs, and then now you're bringing in Sharif and Jalen Johnson. The Hawks are probably the deepest team in the NBA. Gallinari off the bench, because the starters are going to be. I mean, is Bogdan starting? Is Cam starting? So that means one of them is coming off the bench. It's probably the Hawks. Yeah. Probably the Hawks are probably the deepest team.
I say, or the Lakers. Honestly, I think the Lakers going to have, especially with the vets they have. I think they're going to have a pretty deep bench. Not even just a deep bench, but a quality bench. Even when you shorten the rotation. Kendrick Nunn is going to be a good backup with Westbrook a bit. I think he could play with Westbrook as well.
Yeah, Nunn can play with Westbrook. I wouldn't be surprised if Nunn started. I think he's going to come on the bench, but I wouldn't be surprised if they started him.
Wayne Ellington, Malik Monk, I think, and THT.
I was with your T said Wayne Ellington. I'm not.
You're not a fan of Wayne Ellington.
UNC Wayne Ellington, yeah, his NBA career has been. I don't expect him to do much for the Lakers this year, but Malik Monk is my wild card for them.
Yeah,
because Malik I think he could start or he could. That is the matter of who's starting at the 2, because it could be THT.
Yeah.
I think they probably bring him off the bench, but Malik, it could be Malik, or Malik could be that first guy off the bench and provide high level scoring.
No, it's probably I think
Wayne had a good shooting percentages, but he never makes shots when it's time to make shots. That's just what I've seen from him. But he hasn't been catching passes from LeBron either. So LeBron and Westbrook setting you up. Maybe that's different.
No, that's true. I've noticed another thing in some league because, of course, there's been a couple veterans out there trying to get back into trying to make some NBA roster. Michael Beasley's playing for Portland's summer league team.
Oh, no point of that. Don't like it. Portland is that. I'm glad you brought that up. I like it for Michael Beasley. If you want to play basketball, play basketball. Yeah. But Portland should be trying to find players because they have had a really quiet summer. You're using your summer league roster minutes for Michael Beasley. If you want to work out Michael Beasley, just bring him in and sign him. You know what Michael Beasley is.
Yeah, at this point, right?
What he provides. That's Portland's playing with Dame, and I'm not usually for players asking for trades, but Dame is going. They're going to Kevin Garnett Dame. Because remember, KG was so adamant. I don't want to be traded. I want it done here, and they put that one team around them. They made the conference finals. They didn't keep it together. Different things happened,
right.
But they didn't keep it together. Didn't bring nothing up, and they basically forced KG to be like, "All right, man, trade me." And Portland gonna do that to Dame. He don't want to leave. I really believe him when he says he don't want to leave, but they're gonna force him to leave by wasting their summer league minutes. You can find things in summer league with, maybe it's an undrafted rookie, a G League player that can help your team, right. Especially if you're striking out on big free agents, and they wasting roster spots. I don't like it.
It's Malik Beasley. I like Malik Beasley at one point. I thought he could be a good 3-and-D player. He showed a little scoring touch. I think he averaged 20 when he first got to Minnesota for that half a season. I don't know if he's done, but I don't know where Malik Beasley fits best at, honestly.
Is he he's a free agent currently?
Yeah. Of course, everybody knows, he's a free agent right now.
Yeah. And the Bucks do not repeat. I respect their championship this year, but I'm not going to act like they weren't in danger of losing when the team they played was fully healthy. So I don't think they're repeating. We'll see, though.
Isaiah Thomas and Jamal. It's funny. We just had a conversation about Isaiah Thomas and Jamal Crawford the other day after Isaiah Thomas scored 81 in Jamal Crawford's Pro-Am League. And while I do think they are players that can help teams, I don't think anybody deserves a roster spot. I think you deserve a chance to try and earn a spot. But to say because Isaiah Thomas scored 81 in a pro-am game, which is going to be a mix of some college players, a couple pro-level athletes, some high school players, that doesn't mean he's going to be the perfect city. That doesn't mean he's going to provide what you think he can provide in the NBA. And as far as Jamal Crawford go, I put him in that category with like Vince Carter, not necessarily Udonis Haslem, who's just sitting on the bench. But whereas Jamal Crawford probably can provide something, is a winning team going to sign Jamal Crawford to where he's going to be helping them, or is it going to be a young team where he's probably going to be taking minutes from a player that can be getting those minutes and develop?
Right, yeah. I said with Isaiah Thomas, the problem when you get to the stage of where he is this is the option for these teams. Losing teams want young players. They want young prospects who they can develop or see potential for the future for. Teams competing for a championship want players that can directly contribute within the flow of the team. That means maybe you play this game, maybe you don't play this game. Come in and do this particularly, especially if you're not one of the top guys. You're not coming in to start. Isaiah Thomas wants, I don't know what he wants. I don't know Isaiah Thomas, but it's safe to say that he feels like he could provide the teams minutes to play, and there's no guarantee he's going to get minutes. So teams don't waste those spots on players that, especially if you're not a versatile player. So, okay, if he's feeling it, he can score, he can shoot the ball, but he's going to be a liability defensively, and he's not really going to run the offense as a point guard. So you really just bring him in for your scoring. Let's just use Brooklyn for an example last year, which they couldn't have signed him in the playoffs while everybody was hurt, but you need a guard. But he's coming out there to score, and Brooklyn just needed someone to handle the ball. How does Isaiah Thomas help you in that situation? So, and if you're a team that's losing, why are you going to sign him? We losing. We don't want him to come out there and win for us,
right? No,
or come out here and steal these minutes from this first round pick. That hey, we're gonna give you these minutes. So they're in that weird, and then now you get to a point where you haven't played seasons in the NBA, so that just doesn't help in your favor. I even feel like, because I brought up the Melo, and I think Kendrick Perkins said something about Melo. Yeah. But even in Carmelo Anthony's situation, he wasn't that far removed from playing, but if Carmelo would have missed that next year, I don't think he would have played again in the NBA. Because now it's like, all right, you haven't played in 2 years. Isaiah Thomas has been out longer than Melo has been out. And Carmelo is 6'8", and he can rebound also. So he's providing more than just the scoring. Even if you think he's not the defensive player that you want, he's at least providing two things. Isaiah Thomas is going to provide 3-point shooting because his scoring is volume scoring. So he really needs the ball in his hands to score. I mean, we saw that when he went to Washington. That was his last team that signed him, if anybody remembers. He went there because they needed a guard to play. He went in there. He started some games. He didn't start, but he played some minutes, but he was out there to score, had the ball in his hands. And a championship caliber team is not going to give you that.
No, yeah, honestly, like you say, he's just in that weird area right now. Like, he doesn't have that tenure with a team where you could be a Udonis Haslem and come in and kind of sit on the bench and help the younger players just grow and develop from like a coaching player standpoint.
Right.
So it is going to be hard for them to find that route to go back in the NBA. But to your point you made the other day, if they really want to play and show they can get back in the NBA, go overseas for a year.
Go overseas instead of just playing pro-ams or sitting at home. But the NBA it's going to be a different people around it. But the NBA is a young man's game. The best of the best are always going to be there, the top 10, 15, 20 players, 50 players maybe. But everybody else, it's a matter of what you can provide, and it's a matter of how beneficial you are. And that's for everybody. And, that's part of the business of the game. So that's why you got to get the most out of it while you're there, because you never know when it's up, because you could literally have an MVP type season, get hurt, and then be out of the league. So that's how it goes sometimes.
This probably gonna be the last one. We're probably gonna get out of here in a minute, but it's an interesting one. He says, "What I feel is on the new league called Elite, which is run by Kevin Ollie and his best friend David Lido, which will allow young players to improve while making $100,000 coming out of high school, and how will that affect recruiting and coaching? And this is from Michael. I don't think it first. I'm gonna answer that last, but I don't think it affects recruiting and coaching, because even with players still able to go to the G League or just go overseas, there's still a ton of the top recruits going to college still. So that's just another route they can go. But as far as if this league is really about them improving, I do think that's what's up, because now it's just improving on court stuff or getting them ready for off the court things as well. Because I don't think there's nowhere that actually gets players ready for the off the court stuff that they go through. But as far as on court skills, I think if it's just like a camp or a league, whatever, I think it's best to get them against a wide variety of competition. If it's going to be a situation like that, that helps. But if it's just going to be them and if it's like 20 players in a training camp type situation, I don't really like those situations, because you aren't really – I don't think you plan to get better in those situations. You're just playing.
Right. First, I didn't know that this was even happening. Shout out to Kevin Ollie. I think he was a solid coach or whatever. I didn't even know that was happening, but it's interesting to see these leagues popping up. Got the G League doing their thing now. LeVar Ball tried it with the JBA. I believe overtime is starting a league where they're going to pay a certain amount of money. And when I think about it, first of all, I agree with what you said about it. It's not going to take away from recruiting for a few reasons, especially now that you can kind of make money off your likeness in college. There's going to be opportunities there for people. Shout out to Master P. He signed a major deal. I ain't putting his money out there because he's still a minor, and people should stop talking about his money. But he signed a crazy deal. But people are still going to do what works best for them, because at the end of the day, going to the G League at night, I'm just using them for example, sounds cool. But I always think about certain situations, like it's even like when you're choosing a college. Remember when Wendell Carter went to Duke, and then after him and his mom, they were kind of upset because I think who decided to go to the last Marvin Bagley decided. So now it's these players still want to showcase what they can do.
Right.
And that's having the ball in their hands, especially that might be the last time of your career where you're the main focus offensively or whatever. So I think that's going to play in some people's decisions. And yeah, you're going to have those players that's like, oh yeah, I want to play with this guy. I want to go hoop with there. But like, let's say if it was two people and they played the same position, they may not want to do it because they say, I want to have my own place to shine or whatever. Because that's just how it is. You still want to be a top 10 pick. You still want to get a good endorsement deal. You still want to put yourself in the best position to make the most money that you can, because you haven't made that money yet.
Right.
So I think I like the idea of pros, which Kevin Ollie was a pro, played for the 76ers with Allen Iverson. And he coached at UConn, won a national championship, right? Then he was Shabazz coach when they won the championship.
I think so.
Yeah.
You might be right.
I'm pretty sure he was. But I like that because you got coaches giving them game and stuff like that. But I'll be honest, I think it helps the elite players, but it only helps them so much. They're gonna get better in the NBA. You can see I like players doing what Darius Bazley do, which I've been preaching over like 10 years. He signed a deal and sat out, and Darius Bazley can hoop. So I think the competition playing helps because you don't want to just be idle, but I don't think it changes how much better you're getting, honestly. I think it helps. I don't want to say you're not going to get better, because if you're in the G League at night, you're playing against other NBA players. Like Jared Jack was on that team. He's a pro. He just got a job coaching. Shout out Jared Jack. So I think it helps, but when you elite, you just need the ball.
Facts. When you elite, you're elite. Like I said, I think those are tricky situations. But I think having a former pro and coach Kevin Ollie, I think that helps with the player development.
Exactly. Yeah, when it's somebody like that involved, because even while LeVar Ball's league, people can say what they want, but why it had some stock into it is because Earl Watson was involved. That's an NBA coach.
NBA player. Yeah.
And Earl Watson got a great basketball mind. I really love Earl. He's NBA point guard. It's always the point guard. Right? Yeah. It's usually point. You feel like it's point guards or centers. Yeah. Because centers sometimes, even though you can quarterback the team too, that's a different discussion. But
I think the point guard and center got to be the most team-friendly positions, because regardless of what you do, you got to do a lot of. You got to sacrifice a little bit more at those positions to make sure the team is a little better.
And you're anchoring in some type of way, because the center, even if you're not anchoring the offense, you're probably anchoring the defense, putting people in positions and stuff like that. So
Oh, what's going on, Nick Andre? Yo, you still down, man? Like 2-on-2?
Yeah, we gotta put it together. We gotta get a different date though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna switch up the date. But 2-on-2, Hoopers Run Shout. What up, Nick? But I think that was all I had. Yeah, something else.
No, I think that's it for the end for this episode.
Yeah, so we're gonna end it here. Appreciate everyone. Hold on. Yeah, see, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, UConn. I knew for sure UConn. Shout out to the Paul too, Missouri.
No, that's the other guy. That's the other guy who's helped to start the league.
Wow. See, so he was with him at UConn, and then he got so you got
a mix of people that can really help these players.
Exactly. Yeah. So it helps. It definitely helps. And then I just like them putting money in players' pockets, these players that want to be professional basketball players. Because you can. I'm glad. I want to end it here because I wanted to give a random shout out to J.R. Smith.
I did.
I love the fact that he's going back to school to play golf. And my favorite quote out of him when they was just asking him why he decided to go back to school, and he said, "They always told me I can go back whenever, and this is whenever for me." And I'm like,
it's simple as that, right?
They said I can go back whenever, and this is whenever for me. So I got free time. I want to do it. He had a black college. Shout out to J.R. Smith.
Shout out to that too. He went to a black college.
Yeah. In North Carolina. Imagine being okay, because he's gonna go to school on campus. Imagine you're on campus. You see J.R. Yeah, you go to school on campus. He's not gonna live on campus, but he's going to school on campus. He's trying to play on the golf team.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I think you gonna live on campus.
He got kids. He got kids.
But no, yeah, shout out to J.R. Smith. Like I said, he was good at football, basketball, baseball, golf. He just happened to be a lottery pick in basketball.
Yeah, so for sure. But other than that, appreciate everyone for viewing as always. Appreciate people that listen. Go check out the podcast and where podcasts are available. Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora. Catch us every Monday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Nothing But Net channel through the Dash Radio app for the Hoopers Hour. And then, of course, every right now it's the off season, so we're checking in here and there. We still been going strong, but Friday mornings, catch us here on the Off the Ball Network's Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and on our Twitter page at the Hoopers Pod on Twitter for the Hoopers Morning Run. And
on Wednesdays, don't forget to catch us.
Oh, snap. Yeah. I forgot about that because that's a new thing. Wednesday is halftime app. We just did the David Robinson room. Next Wednesday, we're doing the Vince Carter room, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Download the halftime app. Shout out to everyone over there at halftime. We just going on there and talking about different players, teams, different stuff like that. So first week was Kevin Durant's room. We did David Robinson's room this week. Next week, we're going to Vince Carter's room. Shout out to Vince Carter. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Vince Carter room, Wednesday, 6 p.m. halftime app. We'll see you out there.
And with that being said, I'm John W.
Fresh X.
And this was the Hoopers Morning Run.
Catch y'all next week.